In this video, I would like to introduce you a developing environment that I'll start to love since the first times I use it. I'm talking about Visual Studio Code. Version 1 of Visual Studio Code by Microsoft has been released in September 2016, but the 0. Version is around from the past year, so I'm talking about 2015. And we can say it is a relatively newcomer in developing environment world. As you can imagine, and as you can see from the Stack Overflow's 2016 developer survey, there are plenty of editors, and Visual Studio is not in the first positions. So, for example, we have Sublime Text in third position, here. And we have Atom on ninth position, and we can find Visual Studio Code here with a 7.2% of users. I mentioned Sublime Text and Atom because I used them in the past and because they are very popular in the development community. I won't explain how to install it because it's very easy and you can follow the instruction on the website. Here you can see the page. In my case, I have an Italian installation, and now I'm going to show you how easy it is to change the default language. This is a very nice way to meet the command palette and how it works. Let's click Ctrl, Ctrl, Shift, and the P to bring up the new window, and then start typing config. Okay, we have Configura Lingua. Let's click it. To select the value, we can use one of the available languages as shown in the official page that I'm going to show you. Okay, this is the official page. We have all the available locales: English, Chinese, French, Italian, German, and so on. We will switch to the English locale. So let's come back to the editor. Let's type in N and save the file. We have also the shortcut CTRL and S in order to save. Then we have to restart the editor to see the changes. Here we are. Now we have the new UI in English. We are here in the main page. There are no open files, and you see one of my favorite keyboard shortcuts to open the command palette. So there is the CTRL Shift P. Then we have another one, the CTRL P. Let's try it. Okay, we have a new window popped up, and we can start typing the name of file we want to open. At the moment there are no open files, so it's pretty useful to try to do that. So let's open a directory. On the file menu, select Open Folder. Open then folder or recent. In my case, recent. I have a project already prepared. And let's press Ctrl P and start writing something. For example, config. Here we have a list of all files that have part of the name, or the whole name is config. Oh, let's open, for example, config root. Okay, here we have the config root file open. Very easy. So let's start exploring this new interface, this new UI with some file open. So on the top left corner, we have this little box, this open editors, and this contains the list of open files. As you can see, there are 3 files here and 3 files here. You can switch among them. Here we have a little icon, very useful. It's a save all icon. It allows us to save all the file open listed here that needs to be saved. Immediately below we have the timetable directory and with the whole folder structure. We have also 4 useful icons to create a new file, a new folder, to refresh and collapse all the directory tree. Let's continue exploring the editor. The second icon we have here on the left side of the window is the search icon. Here you can search into your file using several filtering types in order to include or exclude some file types. Obviously, you can also perform a search and replace. The third icon is the GitHub connection. Before clicking it, I wanted to show you this little number 7. It indicates how many files, how many changes GitHub recognize on my file system. So let's click it. We have the list of changed file. So for example, let's click on server.js. Here is opening a new split screen with the difference between what's on the server and what is in my file on my file system. So in my file system I have these changes. On the server side, on the GitHub repository there is, and the same for this one. The GitHub feature definitely worth a video dedicated to explore the topic, exactly as the debug feature, so the following one. So let's skip them and jump into the extensions. Here you can search and install new extensions and see what you have already installed. In my case, I have 3 installed exceptions: Color Picker, ESLint, and Material Theme. Material Theme is a theme customization for Visual Studio Code. Then we have the ESLint. ESLint is a runtime JavaScript code analyzer, and I use this plugin to detect errors while I'm writing code. And it's very useful, as you can figure out, because it allows us to fix errors before actually run the code. This extension is a little bit complicated to install because it needs a Node.JS extension to run. But following the documentation and the install guide, I think it's enough to make it works. I want to outline how this feature shows how Visual Studio Code seamlessly integrates with the developing environment, and in this case, Node.js. Then we have a Color Picker. Color Picker is a very useful utility that opens a color picker into the code editor, allowing us to select the color we need. For example, let's click the Ctrl Shift P and let's start typing color, then click pick color. Heck, here you are. Here we have our color picker. We can select it. We have values here. Okay, we can cancel it. Another built-in facility we have in Visual Studio Code is the little color box that appears near the color code. So for example, let's start writing a color here. So for example, choose a random color. Here the magic. Here you can see the color of the element in this little box. Okay. And then I want to show you how formatter works. For example, let's move this line in a pseudo-random position. Then we have 2 options to format this code, or with a right click and then select format code, or as shown here in the tooltip, we have the shortcode Alt, Shift and F on the keyboard. I can't close this introduction video without spending at least a few seconds talking about IntelliSense. Access it by pressing anytime Ctrl space. First of all, let's open a file, for example. So Ctrl space. Okay. As you can see, IntelliSense is the built-in autocompletion tool of VSD, Visual Studio Code, where you can view available method, parameter scenes, short documentation, and so on. For example, we want to include a 3 menu provider. Let's start writing 3M. We have 3 menu provider. For this first video, that's all. This is an introduction video for Visual Studio Code. We have more and more to explore with this fantastic editor. If you like this video, don't forget to leave us a comment or a suggestion here on YouTube or on socials. Keep in touch with us, join the YouTube channel using the big red button. See you soon!